Welcome to Mental Game Mastery, where we dive into the world of sports psychology and peak performance, designed for you to level up your athletic career.
Imagine with me you're new to a team. You're walking into the locker room for the first time. And in this locker room are other new athletes and those that are returning to the team. Regardless of whether they are new or old, just like you, each has a story and interactions with coaches along the athletic journey. You take a look around. Some athletes possess a look of confidence and others are fidgety, appearing anxious. Each athlete has played under different coaching styles, which has shaped not just their performance, but their approach to their sport. Hey there, athletes. I'm your host, Coach P, bringing you mental performance insights and stories from being in the trenches of athletic coaching. As a mental performance coach, I get the privilege to work with all athletes across all sports. In today's episode, I'm introducing a two-part series about the impact of sports leadership on player development. As a leadership development consultant in the corporate environment, I had a conversation with, we'll call him a seasoned employee in the twilight of his career. We were discussing his defensiveness in regards to receiving feedback from his coworkers. As you can imagine, after an almost 30-year career in the corporate world, there was a bit to unpack. As it turns out, he had a lot of leaders in his life that had impacted him in a negative way that he carried with him to the company he now worked for. There are a lot of parallels between sports coaching and corporate management. Why? Because coaches and corporate executives are managing people, and both are looking to get the best out of the people they lead. As we discuss the impact of different coaching styles on athletes, we want to look for the lessons in creating a positive, productive, and mentally healthy team environment. So picture this. You're ready for the game. Game plan is set. You're all in with your mindset, and then suddenly your coach throws a curveball at you, a new play, an unexpected change in the lineup. How does this unpredictability impact an athlete's performance? These changes often lead athletes to mentally scramble in order to adapt. And this unpredictability can be a tactic, but at what cost? As a coach, I'm probably guilty of this one, especially when I was a young coach. I look to communicate my thinking beforehand, but I don't always get it right. I can see why athletes under such coaches may often feel increased anxiety and difficulty in decision making. And as humans, unpredictable environments trigger the stress response. Athletes may have an increased alertness and constantly on edge, which can impair their performance. Consistency in coaching not only builds skill, but also psychological safety, which is important for peak performance. So how do athletes thrive in such an environment? Well, we are here for mental game mastery, so the answer lies in developing mental agility. Practices like mental reps, mindfulness, and scenario planning can help athletes prepare for the unexpected, turning potential chaos into an opportunity for growth. And if you're an athlete trying to perform in this environment, start mental repping different scenarios in training and games. See yourself adapting successfully. This mental rehearsal builds a resilience buffer against unpredictability. And in talking with a female soccer player recently, she said, "Our coach is intimidating. We train in fear of making mistakes. He pushes us hard, but many of us struggle with anxiety and self-doubt." Now, the next type of coach is one who demands absolute compliance, often using fear as a motivator. But does this style cultivate commitment or just compliance? And how does it help an athlete's mental game? And this type of coach is the domineering coach. Unfortunately, this experience isn't uncommon. A domineering approach may yield short-term results, but at what long-term psychological cost to the athlete? Long-term exposure to high-stress environments can lead to burnout, decreased motivation, and even mental health issues. Athletes in such environments can benefit from learning to be assertive and set healthy boundaries. It's also crucial to find external support systems like mentors or a mental performance coach who can provide guidance and a place to voice concerns. Approach the domineering coach with assertive communication and do it in a less stressful situation, not before or after a game. If being assertive is not a strong point for you, practice the conversation with a mentor, a teammate, or a mental performance coach. It could be as simple as expressing your training preferences. It's a skill that will empower you to have more constructive interactions with not only domineering coaches, but when the playing days are over and you're in the corporate environment with domineering corporate executives. Lastly, for this episode, I had a conversation with an assistant coach who often felt in the dark about team strategies. It was hard to commit fully when he didn't understand the bigger picture. And this is the secretive coach. This coach holds plans and decisions close, often leaving athletes and even assistant coaches feeling out of the loop. The absence of open communication can lead to mistrust and a fragmented team dynamic. Transparency is key in building trust within a team. When athletes and assistant coaches understand the why behind the decisions, it cultivates a sense of belonging and a shared purpose. Secretive environments can lead to speculation, leads to insecurity, which are detrimental to team chemistry. For athletes and assistant coaches in such situations, developing open communication channels and seeking clarity is important. In all organizations, there is a chain of command, so to speak. Ask questions and engage in dialogue with your assistant coaches. If you have a good relationship with an assistant coach, hopefully this coach can talk to the head coach about concerns. This not only improves understanding, but also builds a culture of openness. So let's create a habit of regular check-ins with your assistant coach. And coaches, if this is hitting home, create the habit of regular check-ins with your players. Use this time to ask questions, express concerns, receive feedback, and understand or explain the rationale behind decisions. This proactive approach can bridge gaps in communication and build mutual trust. So let's pause for a moment. Let me ask you a few questions. Have you experienced these types of coaching styles as an athlete or as an assistant coach? How do they affect your performance and your mental state? What strategies have you found effective in adapting to different coaching styles? And after discussing with one of my athletes, she said that over time she learned to communicate openly with her coach, express her concerns. She said at first it wasn't easy, but it led to better understanding and a more supportive environment. And I bring this up because in sports and unfortunately in the corporate environment, there is a lack of leadership development. And if it is provided by the organization, it can often be the first program to be cut. Leadership development isn't intangible. You can't touch it. And the benefits aren't felt immediately. But if a sports team rises and falls on the capability of the leader, and this includes team captains or the unspoken leaders of the team, what does the leadership rise and fall on? And I believe it's their mindset. And when the leaders get better, everyone gets better. And in this episode, we've explored the unpredictable, the domineering, and the secretive coach. Each presents unique challenges, but also opportunities for growth. As athletes, understand how navigating these dynamics is an important part of your mental game. And I want to hear your stories and strategies. Share your experiences with me on my social channels or in the comments. Join me next time for part 2 of this series. And if you found these strategies, this information valuable, don't forget to hit that like button. Share this episode with your teammates, with your coaches, and subscribe for more insights on athletic excellence. And until next time, work together. Keep chasing your athletic dreams. Celebrate your journey. And remember, the time is now.